Welcome to episode 5 of Tell Emma Your Dilemma, our new series over here at Emma Heywood Hypnosis. So I know I took a couple weeks off. I changed continents. I got sick. I'm still a little bit congested, so I'm going to try not to cough in this episode, but I have water here just in case. So I am back, and so keep the submissions coming. Keep the dilemmas coming. I'm here to support you. I'll keep it going in December. I'll take a little bit of a break over the holidays and then we'll be back in the flow in January. So tell me your dilemma. I'm here to help you. Okay, so this dilemma is a relationship dilemma. And basically the submission was about when two partners in the relationship have different needs, and in this form, different sexual needs. The person writing in voiced how much they really just don't want to have sex right now and how much the partner does want to have sex and how to communicate that to them without hurting their feelings. So I have a lot of thoughts. The first thing I want to also have my notes here because I have lots of thoughts. So I don't want to forget anything. The first thing I want to say though is you should never feel forced to do anything you don't want to do, especially when it comes to sex. Consent is consent. It doesn't matter if you've been married for 30, 40 years, consent is consent. And if you're feeling like it's not consensual in some way, please reach out to me privately. And I know the person who submitted, so I'm going to check in with you too. Because there are resources in your area, resources I can share with you that I can privately share. It does not matter if you've been married, again, 30, 40 years. Your body is your body and consent is consent. So that's just the kind of initial groundwork foundation I want to lay. So please message me privately if that is something you want to talk about further. And I know this is a tricky situation, right? Because from what I gathered from your submission, it doesn't sound like he really knows or gets how much you don't want to. And so my first thought is, well, that was my first thought. My next thought is there a way that you can communicate with him how you're truly feeling? And if it's hard to say it face to face, maybe you can write a letter to him and just explain, you know what, I really am not sexual these days. I don't want to, I don't feel like it. My drive is not there, as what you share with me in your dilemma. And maybe he just right now doesn't understand how much you're just like, I really don't want to do this. He might just be feeling more like, oh, she's not in the mood, but she's going to be in the mood. But like, maybe he doesn't understand just how much you really don't want to. And so if it's hard to say that face to face, I would, invite you to write it out. Sometimes it's easier to write things out and share it with him in that way. Again, just reminding you that it doesn't matter how long you've been married. You don't feel like you have to do something just because, he wants to. The other thing I want to say is to not judge yourself for where you're at, just because your sex drive has changed, just because you're feeling differently, that's okay. We change as humans, we change over time. I know you personally, and I know you're in a season right now of lots of shifts and transformations and going through things. And maybe right now you're just not feeling sexual, and that's okay. And that's okay. And you deserve to take care of yourself and what you need right now, right? If that means not having sex right now, that's what it means. And he needs to understand and respect that. And if he doesn't, that's something to sit with. And maybe it means taking some space from the relationship. I'm not here to tell you like what to do in your relationship, but knowing that like those options are there. Wait, I'm just looking at my notes because I don't want to forget. That's my thing. So even if you've been in a relationship for a long time, you've been in a marriage for a long time, doesn't mean you can't change it, right? Like at the end of the day, life is short and you deserve to be happy and you deserve to be in a relationship that makes you feel joyful. And, different relationships have seasons. You had a season of being newly married, a season of raising kids, a season of, and I know you as well, and you're really in this identity of taking care of everybody, of being the mother, of being the wife, of doing all of this. But like, what about you, right? You're in a season of your life right now where you're showing up for yourself and you're making changes. And like, what about you? Another thing is, and maybe if it's a relationship that you want to work on it, maybe that's when it's time to go to couples counseling and couples therapy. Maybe there's a way that you can voice to him, this isn't working for me. I don't feel seen. I don't feel heard. I don't feel valued. I don't feel like my needs are being met. And I want them to be, and I want them to be with you. And so maybe that means having that honest conversation with him. And sometimes having a third party is really useful. So going to a couples therapist and saying, you know what? And maybe he might not realize how much you aren't feeling seen and valued in the relationship. And so that's an invitation, is to maybe see if he's, open to couples therapy. And maybe it's saying, listen, I want to start fresh with us. What if whether it doesn't have to be like a vow renewal, but maybe it's like, you know what? This hasn't been working. I want to shift what our relationship dynamic is. I want to voice what both of our needs are and what we expect out of each other as partners and in the relationship. This is what my expectations are. This is what I, can give, and this is what I want to receive. And having that honest conversation to say, you know what? Okay, let's meet each other now. Let's talk about how we can almost make it marriage 2.0, right? Because right now it seems like you're not fully seeing each other. And as you voiced in the dilemma and the submission, that he can give the silent treatment, or he can get in a mood or not talk to you, or all of that. And it's hard to be with somebody who has that resistance. And so maybe he's open to it. Maybe he's open to that conversation about what the new expectations of each other can be. Again, maybe it is that third party. And then if he's not open to it, that's a moment where you can sit with yourself and say, is this something that I still want to be in? Again, I'm not here to tell you, what to leave your relationship or not, but I'm here to remind you that this is your life and you deserve to follow your happiness and your joy. And maybe that right now means just taking some space. You don't have to decide today about what the relationship is going to be, but maybe right now it's just taking some space for yourself, taking some alone time, and really saying like, what lights me up and what brings me joy and what makes me happy. It takes a lot of courage and bravery to shift, to make life shifts and to shift our relationships. And just because a relationship has worked for, 10, 20, 30 years, whatever, that was still successful. But you know what? We evolve as humans, and it's okay to change. And it's okay to say, you know what? You're not meeting my needs now, and you're not making me happy now. And maybe there needs to be a shift, right? But also giving yourself the space and time to go through that. You don't have to decide something overnight, but it's like sitting with yourself and you're like, what do I want out of life? What do I want out of my relationship? Are these matching? Do I feel like I can talk to my partner about this? Or maybe I want to write something out. Maybe it's time to have that conversation about bringing in a counselor or a therapist, a couples therapist, and having a third party. Because if your partner's not aligning with what you want out of life and what you want, that's a conversation to have, and that's just something to reflect on. So I think the first thing is, not first thing, all the things I'm saying, but sitting with yourself and really writing out, what do I want out of my life and what do I want out of my relationship? And what am I willing to do to make that happen? Having that conversation, getting the third. I'm kind of repeating myself now, but I'm just wanting to offer these different perspectives. Okay, I was just looking at my notes, but that's my main thing, is just that reminder to you that you deserve to follow your joy, and I know it can feel scary to maybe make life shifts, or to say, you know what, I need to take space right now, but I know you, and I know you're brave, and I know you're courageous. And just that reminder that like, this is your life. This is our one life. This is our one life. And we deserve to be happy. We deserve to do what we want and what we need. And if someone in our life isn't matching that, then we can change that and we can shift that, whether it's shifting it together or shifting it apart. But those are my main thoughts for now. So because I know you, feel free to message me privately, and I'll message you privately just to check in, because I know this is a tender and kind of intense dilemma. And so I'm here for you. And if we want to talk resources as well, that's an option. But to everyone watching, my main ending thought I want to leave you with is that you deserve to follow your joy and happiness. And if people in your life, whether it's a romantic partner, friendships, family, children even. You know, I have clients who have issues with their children. You know, it is your life, and make the boundaries you need to make. Follow what lights you up. Meet your own needs. And this is why we also go to therapy. This is why we do RTT and we do these kinds of deep work, because we need to know and meet these parts of ourselves to say, wait, my needs weren't being met in this part of my life. How can I meet my needs now? Because it's never too late to meet our needs and to show up for ourselves. You know, our longest relationship we have in life is with ourselves. We are with ourselves from the moment we're born to the moment we die, right? We are in our minds every day. We got to make it a loving, beautiful place to live, right? And you know, obviously we need connections. We need relationships with other people. Of course, we are social creatures, and meeting ourselves and loving ourselves and being intimate and honest and loving with ourselves is the answer to everything. All of our deep fears, our feelings of unsafety in our life, our anxieties, our blocks, almost all of it can be met with meeting ourselves in self-love. Okay, those are my thoughts. That's my helping you debunk your dilemma. Sending you lots of love to you, your submission, and to everybody watching. Submit a dilemma anytime. Tell Emma your dilemma. Mwah! Episode 5. And yeah, see you next time.